Hi, folks. How you doing out there in TV land?
I'm going to take the fifth. I'm not allowed to talk.
You're not? No, that was the green room. You know, when you're in the green room, you're not supposed to talk, or you don't want people to hear you because you're talking about Christmas presents or something?
My last name used to be Green, honey. Let me show you how green I can be.
Okay, since you can't talk, I guess that's too much for me to read. I can't see it anyway.
I'm good.
Gotta need my bicycle focals.
I'll throw some chocolate your way.
Real Deals Live, back from the green room. Welcome to the show. Wait a minute, is Farrah's camera frozen?
Mm-hmm. My chocolate in my mouth.
Uh-oh.
Let me get my chocolate.
I think you better get the fan out instead. That might actually break off. It's from China.
Watch your nose, it's going to grow.
We're Franciscans. We are on a budget. Welcome to the show tonight. I have a host and an array of topics, but speaking of host, along with my wife and myself, Deb Johnson's back on board from her assignment. Welcome back, Deb.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
We missed you.
Tonight, Christopher is on assignment, and Michael's on some kind of assignment. He might pop in if he has time during his assignment.
The jungles of California.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Have consumed it.
Remember the good old days when Michael used to go to Burning Man and report live from there? Oh, they're now throwing something. Oh, that's an insect invasion. I thought it was rice. All right, let's do with our prayers, and we'll get started. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the malice and the snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, will we humbly pray. And do thou, Prince of the heavenly host, by the divine powers of God, cast into hell Satan and all the other evil spirits who roam to the world, seeking to ruin the souls. Amen.
Amen.
All right. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Hey, we're getting a full house, you guys. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, David. Hey, Deb. You guys share the show. Tell people if they can't be here, they're totally square. But, okay, nobody under 18. It's a adult audience only tonight. It's going to get hairy, get scary, folks. Do not turn your lights off tonight. It's one of those nights.
Hey, Deb, you're going to have to be my Ed McMahon tonight since Christopher and so that people think that I'm funny because I got a laugh track.
Oh, Michelle's here, too. Hi, Michelle. Oh, and if you like the show, give us a little heart. Give us a thumbs up, okay, because that helps us, getting the rankings and that kind of stuff. And if you like us and you want to have fun with us every Thursday, you guys can subscribe either on YouTube or like us on, what is it? What's our name again? Kenneth and Farah Rose Deel?
Where is that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, you have the cue card in front of you. I don't.
I know, but do I ever read it? We're also on Twitter, Instagram, and all that other stuff, but you can find us here. And like we said, we're two guys short of a what?
Cracker?
Deb, isn't there like some kind of joke when you're like two guys short of a something or another? I'm sure Shy could fill it in for us.
2 pins.
Shy's sleeping, and I can't say. You know how Ken always bleeps me out.
That's right, I know.
Yeah, I accidentally hang up on you.
Oh, we got hearts.
Yeah, you would.
Oh, we got little tears coming down. What was the tears for?
No time like the present. Talk about something quite disturbing.
Ah!
Yeah.
Like you?
I
got hearts. That's so cool.
So we kind of need to set up the clip, as they used to say in the Carson show.
What's the first part of our show going to be about tonight? Because we've talked that we got lots of topics, you guys.
This is the only news item, and it has to do with the privacy and security. And we're going to try to get this generated on YouTube, so we'll avoid certain keywords. You notice that we call it now Apocalypse Universe instead of, the NEWS word. You get the yellow demonetized kind of red flagged on YouTube because they don't want anybody reporting the news except for the fake news media.
I know.
So This one's a clip from, there's two of them actually, but we're not playing them in their entirety because we just want to get the GIF out there. The scary things. And this is the AI Watch, where we talk about all the disturbing things in technology. And this is very enlightening. So there's going to be a test afterwards, Farah. Okay, you behave.
Oh, whatever. Like I ever pay attention.
Put that airplane back in your desk.
Like I ever pay attention.
Or I'll put it in mine.
I know where to put it, honey. Can't say.
We've been telling you for months now about the growing power of the big tech companies whose brand of surveillance capitalism has come to shape our politics and culture in ways that many people don't perceive. Tonight we want to give you a very specific example of that. It's both a look into the near future and a terrifying illustration of the control these companies seek over our daily lives. We recently reviewed several patents filed by Google. As we describe them, ask yourself if you're comfortable giving this much power to unelected technocrats you have never met.
Oh my.
In the first patent filed in September of 2016, Google envisions how it could send you personalized advertising based on what a camera observes in your home. In the illustration that Google submitted to the federal government, the patent office, a camera in your bedroom sees a Godfather novel on your nightstand next to your bed and uses that to steer you to watching the movie. If you think that's creepy, prepare yourself because it gets a lot creepier. In another patent application from September 2016, Google imagines how it could take control of your parenting, your relationship with your children. Google's smart home system could detect children near a liquor cabinet, for example, or in their parents' bedroom, infer that, quote, mischief is occurring and deliver a verbal warning. In another example, Google imagines a hypothetical child called Benjamin. Google's cameras would be watching Benjamin at all times, carefully. They could see if he's playing outside or using electronics. Presumably, they'd also try to use that information to sell him things at some point, because that's the whole point of Google.
Supposedly.
The same patent also discusses how the smart home could coach families on, quote, areas of improvement. For example, if a family doesn't spend enough time together, eating together, in Google's estimation, Google might scold them and suggest that they set a goal of eating more often together. That is Google's description, not ours, by the way. We contacted Google for comment on this, and the company, and we're assuming it was a person and not a robot, replied this way, quote, we file patent applications on a variety of ideas that our employees come up with. Some of those ideas later mature into real products or services, some don't. In other words, don't worry, we're not spying on you yet. We just have the patent for it.
Right.
Of course, tech is also dangerous because it is deeply addictive. In fact, more than anything, it's deeply addictive. Now a group of early Google and Facebook employees are teaming up to check the companies they helped create. Tristan Harris is a former Google employee, heads up this new...
Okay, we're not going to play that because there's another scene we're going to play after we comment a little bit on that, but there's more things, and this next one will be about the phones you carry and what they track. And that's even going to be worse because that's here now. But let's talk about this for a minute. Let's start with Farah on this.
Joy.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to know about the technology to know what it does, huh? You know?
You know, if I was your wife, I might have something snarky to say about that.
But you are my wife. Let's hear it. What snarky thing?
Okay, honey. So, we're talking about my opinion about what we just heard.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sorry, weren't you watching my facial expressions? I was just like, I was doing the whole pantomime thing, how I was gagging, my eyeballs were open, my mouth dropped open. I was saying, no, you can like replay the tape. No, you don't have that kind of technology, do you?
Oh, so, replay it? Oh, no, I don't want to play it a second time. Then it'll just take it too much time.
Yeah, you know, folks, it's like, it's really, if you think about it, do you really want anybody in your bedroom looking at what you're doing when no other human body's in there? Didn't think so. No.
If you have a camera in your bedroom, you notice they mentioned in your bedroom on the nightstand, watch Google start their own porn channel. You know, I mean, you got America's Funniest Videos now about America's most candid porn. I mean, I'm telling you that
that's scary.
I mean, where's the limits? They act like they have a right to take and use, like Facebook, you know, with the pictures and images.
Oh, yes.
Everything you put on Facebook is theirs. Anything is on the internet and they extract. You have no rights. They got all the rights, you know, they got all the money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Jennifer said it for me. That is totally flippin' insane. I do not want to know if I don't want to watch my children ever break into the liquor cabinet, which they would never do. I would rather catch them because I know exactly how much liquor's in there because we don't have a lot of, I don't think we have any liquor in the house. And I would rather,
just
cabinet. Beat them within an inch of their lives. But see, that's if I had children that did that sort of thing, but I don't because I've got angels most of the time.
Yeah, Deb, what do you think if an AI told you that your dog needs to go and take a pee in the yard? You know?
Oh, this whole story it's fascinating because it's funny. I mean, number one, I've always watched my own children. Always. I never needed a monitor because I was there physically to begin with. And if I was going to have a camera in my bedroom, I better be getting paid for it. They're not getting no peep show for nothing.
Oh, Marcel.
And it's done candidly, too. It's not like you can just say, hey, give me monetization.
Oh, exactly.
Oh,
well, you know, they say they're not trying to control our lives. No, what they're doing is trying to have robots control our lives.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
If you look at the bottom line, everything boils down to money. If they know what you're doing when you go to bed or who you're going to bed with, they know what kind of products you're going to need in the morning. And then when you get up in the morning and they see if there's actually anybody in bed with you and there's not, or maybe there's somebody different, then they know what kind of product you might need for your car or for your front door, so you can be warned. What they're doing is they're trying to control every aspect of how they market products to you. This is worth multi-billions of dollars, people. Because once somebody is inside your home, you like Hellman's mayonnaise, but you don't like, what is that cream of sugar stuff that they've got that serves a salad dressing? You like this,
cream
but you don't like that.
Yeah, that's
So this is how they make your money. I mean, we've already got it, kids. I mean, you go onto any social media site. I don't care if it's, Twitter or Facebook or eBay, and they're popping ads in there. Oh, we saw you like this, so you must like that. That's how they're already laying it on. So robotics is not a stretch at all. Exactly, Dawn. We are the consumers, people. And they believe that by feeding us more things to consume, they will get fatter and be able to... What are they doing, you guys? Haven't you heard the latest? They're putting those wristbands on their employees so that they can watch every minute of their employee's day. I mean, excuse me, if that isn't slavery, I don't know what is.
You're like, oh, John went to the bathroom too many times. Hey, John's 60 years old. He's got a prostate problem.
John's docked $20 today.
Oh, he just got money back that he lent out to somebody. Yeah, you know.
It was horrible.
You're going to have to get a lawyer every time to fight it. Probably an AI lawyer, too.
Yes, totally. It's control, marketing, and money. It's pretty horrible.
And control.
So why don't you tell us what you think, Mr. Techie?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Techie. I should have put Stephen Hawking on here tonight, but I didn't think of it.
Well, you can ask your Freud ball. That's as ridiculous as it gets.
Yeah.
Oh, leave Stephen Hawkins out of this, please.
That's Mr. Hawkins.
Then I'll have to stop the show and go watch The Big Bang Theory.
Totally.
Or the Cosmos, or whatever whatever thing he narrated. Okay, disturbing video number 2. Here it comes.
Oh, boy.
Last night, in an exclusive investigation, we showed you 2 patents that Google has filed for. They show the company's willingness to stick a camera in your bedroom and spy on you and your children, and then, of course, use that information to sell you things. That's how surveillance capitalism works. But currently, Google doesn't have a camera in every bedroom or every home.
Yet.
It does have a phone in millions of people's pockets, though. And the question is, how much information is Google getting from those phones? We put a couple of our smartest producers on this, and then we sent Fox News headlines anchor Brett Larson out to investigate. Watch.
We know that Google is tracking us. We agree to it when we set up our phones. So we wanted to figure out what exactly Google is learning about us throughout the day. So here's what we're going to do. We have 2 identical phones. The only difference between these 2 phones is this one is in airplane mode. Both of the phones lack a SIM card, and they haven't been set up to access any Wi-Fi networks. So for all intents and purposes, these phones have no connection to a data network. We're going to keep them with us throughout the day. And while I travel around D.C., we're going to figure out just what Google is finding out about me. Our first stop, Sim's Convenience Store, just outside our Fox Bureau, for a quick coffee. From there, we took a walk to the Capitol and took a quick walk around the Senate office buildings, and then decided to hop in a car and head around town. Hello. We're going to the children's hospital, please.
He just hopped in any car.
To run our test, we had to do more than walk the block, so we took a tour around our nation's capital. First, due north to the Children's National Medical Center Hospital, then west to St. Albans School and the National Cathedral.
All right.
Our tour around town was a 14-mile journey that lasted more than an hour. The entire time, the phones had no access to the internet.
Oh my goodness.
Not a Wi-Fi connection and not any cellular data service. It almost seemed quaint to assume that Google wouldn't even be able to collect data on
They
me.
did.
Let's head back to the bureau, my friend.
I guarantee you they did.
Oh, that church is beautiful.
I haven't seen this.
Google's
so.
business model is simple. Collect data on its users and then use that data to sell targeted ads.
Yep.
It's a business model called surveillance capitalism. But does that critical data collection work even when your phones aren't connected?
So we're back here at our Fox Bureau in D.C., and we've got both of our phones exactly how we left with them. The only difference, really, I snapped a couple of bad selfies at the National Cathedral. But otherwise, they have stayed in my pocket for the entire day. So let's find out what they know.
And watch this
This
data.
is our man-in-the-middle device.
No
it's
phone access to
basically
the
a
internet.
Wi-Fi network that these phones are going to connect to once we turn their Wi-Fi on.
Wi-Fi
It's going to pass data through it on the way to Google. But on the way, we're actually going to get a copy of the same data that Google's going to get. We'll be able to decrypt it and then find out where we've been throughout the day.
Within minutes, the numbers rolled in. The phone that wasn't on airplane mode registered more than 100 locations, 130 activities, and even 152 barometric readings. As soon as it hooked up to our Wi-Fi, it transmitted 300 kilobytes of data straight to Google. The phone even logged our exact locations, tracking us all around town, the Capitol, the hospital, the school, and the cathedral.
Now, you may notice what's missing here is the exact route that we took, but it got that data too. It knows when I got out of the car.
The metadata has a time log down to the very second,
What's
tracking everything when they think that you're walking, riding, and yes, even getting out of the car.
Can you
Okay,
believe it?
so you're thinking,
Walking.
this isn't a big deal. I'll just put my phone in airplane mode. Yeah, we thought of that too. This is the other phone that we had with us that no SIM card also remained in airplane mode the entire time. Let's see what kind of data it
I
captured.
guarantee
The
it
phone with
hit
airplane
Wi-Fi.
mode activated actually logged more locations and activities than the other
my
phone,
gosh.
and it also transferred hundreds of kilobytes of data to Google as soon as it was activated.
The only thing that's missing from this map is our stop at the Children's Hospital, but it still knows we were there. There it is. Exiting vehicle, 100% accuracy.
Through complicated user agreements and free software, Google gets users to sign away their privacy for nothing. They're even following you in the places that most people would expect total privacy. Government buildings, a children's hospital, a private school,
That's
a
not
church. Every move you make, every step you take,
You turn
Google
your phone
is
on.
watching you.
And that's Sting, huh?
Now, in a statement to Fox News, Google told us that users who want to opt out of travel.
Yeah.
Write this down right now if you want to opt out, folks.
The problem is with that is when we heard about this on the web with the browsers, and I would see, things that, basically seemed like it was watching my web history, where I was going. So I read, hey, there's this thing, you just go to Google and you go into settings and you opt out. I've done it 3 times and they still track me. I think it's a farce. I think they make it up, and it's just like, making cardboard look like wood with paint. So you can't trust it. And why were they tracking the free phones too? The free little phones that you get under the tent if you're below a certain income limit. They're tracking those phones too, because
Those are prepaid phones, right, Ken?
Yeah, they do the prepaid phones. They do all of them.
Yeah, you get X amount of
Why?
data, and
Like
I know.
track phones, you can buy them at the dollar store,
Yeah.
Walmart, all over.
Exactly.
But so if it's not Google, it's something else in their use. It's like, what's going on there? Okay, so the GPS works even in the airplane mode when it's not connected to 4G or whatever it is, 4G LTE, or to the Wi-Fi, like McDonald's or your house or whatever like that. But everybody was under the impression that it just kind of cuts it short. No, it saves the data in your
That's
phone
just
until you go back
terrible.
on, and it sends it all out. You know how much 300K is? Our book, The Catholic Demonologist, which has 300 pages, that file is about 254K. So if you imagine a 300-page book like that book, it just sent that much data out. every little thing you did, like wipe nose. Comey wipes nose on White House curtains. Ask you bought a hot dog at the stand. No, they don't want to know.
I know. And Steve Foster just commented, it's like they can't find a terrorist walking around, in obvious, terrorist hotbed locations, but boy, they sure can find us.
Yeah, like that's useful.
But Ken, they look for, they do follow us, but they look for red flag words. They'll listen in or see it come across, so they look for words like kill, die, I hope you're dead, things like that. And that'll send up all kinds of red flags. If you mention the word gun, those are red flag words.
Well, that's an old thing that they were doing, supposedly, with the landline phones. I think they got a lot more now, like with YouTube, the way they demonetize you for everything you say.
Because they can actually see where you're going.
So they got some voice recognition stuff. I mean, word recognition. So you speak in a very bad accent. Let's see if they could do it. Kind of like people tried to avoid those traffic cameras by blurring their license plate with a Prisma attachment. You cover your license plate with it, and supposedly at an angle higher where the camera would read, it can't read through the prism, but a cop can when he's behind you, like they're supposed to legally be able to. Yeah. So when they take a picture of your car, they're not getting a license plate. Well, Mythbusters proves that the ones that they tried out didn't work. So that might just be another one of those scams. But you can't blame people. These got covers on them. These cameras that we have, so you can turn the lens camera on. If you have Windows 10, it's watching you 24/7. Now they tried to update Windows 7 software to like a service pack. It's not a service pack. It's just an update, version 2. And when he did that, they put spyware in there. Try to make Windows 7 more like Windows 10. I don't even know why. It's like, I'm not going to get Windows 10 unless I need it, and I'm not doing anything on it. Because it's like none of their dang business.
Literally.
Yeah. So more the AI watch on the computer side of things, which is Orwellian. Did you see that old movie with George Orwell? It's like 1984 came and went, and it was still way behind. Like Space 1999. Do we have any space stations on the moon yet? That Martin Landau that had those two people from Mission Impossible.
There's monkeys on there.
Oh, that was when there was accidentally a bug on the end of the telescope. Yeah. Anyhow, so it's just so weird not having Mike and Christopher in the background and stuff like that. So we'll have to leave them off so we get used to it.
So lonely at the top of Olympus.
The top of Olympus.
Top of Olympus.
Slowly on the top of Olympus. How are we going to know? Hey, if Mike pops in there, he can, I don't know, he said he might even be calling from the airport. I think he's going to actually literally fly over to help his son move, I think was what it was. Move.
His son lives in a very warm location, and I wouldn't mind being there myself right now.
Yeah.
Well, so does he, though. He lives in the Van Halen belt. Remember that?
Yep.
All right, well, that's all we were going to do for the news. I mean, we can go on and on. Yeah.
We got... Yeah, I think that's enough of the news. I mean, Rose's dog is barfing, and people are already going, it's terrible. So, yeah, let's get on.
Should I ask Dr. in slow motion?
I know, in slow motion. She's like doing the $6 million man thing, trying, to collect it.
I am Dr. Freud's therapy ball.
What does Dr. Freud say?
Dr. Freud.
Let's see what these bicycle
says. Unplug them all. Unplug them all now.
What do you think? I almost sound like that guy from Indiana Jones, the one with the glasses, the Gestapo guy, and he goes, like, good evening, Fräulein. But then again, aren't they supposed to be German, Dr. Freud?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, so let's move on to our
main topic.
I don't have an intro for that, luckily. Here we go. With our questions and comments, you can introduce through the chat room. Is anybody frequenting the chat room much? I noticed I was in the one on the old page.
Yes.
Is still in there? Okay.
I'm pretty sure the one in the old page is in there, but I hardly ever get in there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comments are so much more
The comments are
practical.
so much more fun.
Yeah, it's like real time, and you can like put likes and more animations, you know. Deb's computer,
And
she
people
was like
can
up to.
give me hearts. Little hearts.
You got your computer back up, Deb?
Oh yeah, I'm up and running, Kenneth.
Yeah, speaking of the annoying Windows, it decided to do an update when it wants, not when you want. Hey, would you like to do an update now? That's what I ought to say. No, it just doesn't.
Literally.
Updating. Oh, thanks for telling me. At least you told me, so I can't do nothing on my computer. Absolutely
But
nothing.
it was okay because I had my phone, and so I have you guys on my phone, and I have you on my computer.
On my
So I can see
computer.
it in both ways.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Okay, let's get
gosh.
started on this. To see the top of the list, these aren't in any necessary
Boy.
order. I actually
Boy.
spelled succubus wrong,
Boy.
so it's not part of the school system.
Succubus?
That's the problem with putting things together. See, Deb, I need my producer
Oh
over here.
my gosh! Yes, where's our producer when we need our producer, man?
Yes.
It doesn't sound good as succubus.
Yeah. Rock the boat,
Oh
rock
my
the boat, baby.
gosh! So where are we starting on, honey?
Okay,
We're
I'm
starting
not
on
the
Ouija.
grammar Nazi over here.
The grandma Nazis.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. What subject are we starting on, darling?
Can you see on your monitor?
Of course, I can see on my monitor, darling.
Well, we don't have to start there. I can go and talk about one of these
Is
others.
that Ouija boards or VG boards?
Exactly. They're the
Okay, you
BG
want to pick
boards.
another one? Here, pick another one. Let's spin the big wheel.
Yeah, I thought you were doing questions from chat and comments. Okay, we're not doing that one yet. Yeah,
no,
let's
that's
save
not a first. That's for the whole show.
Okay, well, let's save the
Anytime.
Ouija board for last
Okay. Yeah, just to keep
because
people
I have got
teasing.
so much information to share with you guys, and
You
I
haven't
really
brought it up on the internet yet.
no, I've got it in front of me. I just have to
Yeah.
focus my eyes and get away.
I might have to change this thing so it doesn't drive me crazy through the whole thing.
Which
here.
one?
The
Me?
topics. I got to change.
Me?
It's like it's not spelled that way.
Aha.
It's called.
Yeah, I forgot. I think I have to change my browser because I can't get into the chat in the other room. That's right. I can't. It won't let me.
Okay, well, I don't think any. I think there was only one person, one.
Hey,
post
Orange
last week.
Spirits is in there right now. Hi, Orange Spirits.
Orange.
Orange.
Wow,
Orange spins.
oranges die and leave a ghost.
Oh, well.
They're ratty.
That's so funny. You guys. Silly peoples.
Okay, let's get.
I like the one you
Yeah.
have when a relative dies.
My relative dies.
I am.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I like
let's do
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, instead of spinning the Dr. Freud ball, let's let you pick it. I like
Oh,
that.
darn it. Sorry, Dr. Freud. I'll have to put you down. I was going to let you have another shot. That was a pretty bad answer.
I like how you do the monkey thing on the air, honey.
Okay, so, yeah, there's probably a monkey inside of it. Maybe we should feed it and so he doesn't run out of that liquid water in there that's colored blue. It's like it's ink. Okay, the
Not my
question
monkey, not my
extended
circus.
is like, these are questions that come from true life cases, of course, and that's like,
My circus.
what would cause a house or a person to be haunted after a relative dies? And we're not talking about someone who necessarily lives there. I mean, I know there's some variables, but let's just say they weren't like, a Satanist. That they don't live in the
Oh, what
house.
if they live across the pond or in another country?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
an
even
idea.
that. In that scenario first. So now, not am haunted. See what I mean? Oh my gosh, I
I don't know why
apologize to you, ladies.
not I am haunted, but when a relative dies, and what if they're not close by? They're in another country.
Good
Exactly.
one.
Exactly. See, then the ghost has to get a plane, and then pack his ghost stuff, his ectoplasm and his and his chains.
Don't you mean a carrier pigeon?
Okay, no more jokes. We're supposed to be serious here. Okay,
Is that the
so
one we're on? Is that the one we're going to be doing?
Yeah, you picked it.
the
We're
one
doing
what?
it.
Okay.
A relative dies, or how am I haunted? Or now I'm haunted. Good Lord. Let me try
Okay.
anything.
Well, if somebody's across the pond or in another country, and it was a relative, and all of a sudden you're getting weird things that you never had before, what if that was a way of a generational curse coming across the pond?
that's a good one. That's pretty much what the problem has been most of the time. when your relative dies, remember when we say you can't... we're going to talk about it later.
Now, a lot of times you might have never even met this relative, but you knew you were related.
Yeah, then you won't know, because that would make sense even more. When you destroy something unholy, like we'll talk about again with the Ouija board topic, it's one of the points in our big green list here, because it's printed in green. It's the idea that when a person dies, it's the same thing as if an object's destroyed. Boy, the camera has a heck of a time refocusing after I put something up close. It's like it's getting older, Eddie. How old are you in camera years? Is that just like when a person dies, it's the same as if you destroy something and burn it to ash. The spirit that's attached to it will go somewhere else. And the first person it'll go to if you destroy, like a Ouija board or something, would be the person who used that it has access and who's most vulnerable. What about a family member, if that's the family tree? Not necessarily an uncle, but the mother or the father seems to fit. Does this sound like a scenario that you experienced in the past before we were granted holy wedlock? Anything, Farah?
Well,
you ever have something like that?
I don't really have any relatives over the pond that I really keep in touch with or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the over the pond thing is a scenario that Deb made up, but it's just a relative dies, not necessarily in your house, not necessarily like a Satan worshiper or something, at least as far as you know.
Well, the thing of it was, when I was growing up, I've got superstition and Catholicism on one side, and I've got Catholicism and reject superstition on the other side. So if I were to see anything, I was to automatically assume, chances are it wasn't coming to bring me a cinnamon biscuit in bed drizzled with honey. So I was not to pay attention to it and not to give it any recognition. So the only types of real kind of relative ghost things I've had is, in the middle of the night in my dreams, and nothing really solid as far as relatives go. Relatives, I guess they kind of stay away from me.
I guess
I don't know why.
They didn't like
They don't
you.
like me.
Oh, when you say it sounds so sad.
Either that, or maybe they've gone to their jolly, happy haunting ground somewhere in the sky. I've gone up to the spirit in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Deb hit it pretty much that, it seems like it's more of a generational curse. They move on and they focus all their attention on the next one down, the next one in line, or the living ones who are in that generational line.
Yeah, those kind of temptational spirits are pretty dangerous.
Of course, the other one's obvious. I think everybody already thinks that, they know. It's like, oh, relative dies. Oh, yeah, they come there and they say goodbye to you. Well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about haunted. When a relative just comes by to say goodbye, that's not a haunting. It's just a visitation. When they come to stay, and they're like, drinking all your, beverages in the refrigerator and messing up your couch cushions and stuff, Oh,
and here's another one. You know how I say that you can pick up different spirits that come through? It's like, tag sale or, just shopping around. Anything that's used from Goodwill. Also, vintage clothing is another one.
Oh,
especially vintage clothing.
Yeah, clothing's even worse.
Yeah,
because they've actually worn it on their body.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It'll be a third-class relic. Wait, was that second class? It's second-class relic if they were a saint, but what if they're not a saint?
Exactly.
You just brought home a third-class relic of a former Aleister Crowley, for example.
That's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, some of the people probably like to have some Aleister Crowley's artifacts, whatever,
That's kind of gross. Hey, listen, while we're talking about these spirits coming into our dreams and into our beds and into our minds, especially relatives, David Laundrie poses a really good question. Okay, maybe as we're talking about having one of these relatives haunt us, he'd like us to, quote-unquote, define haunting. What does it mean to be haunted?
What do you mean by today's standards? Because the mainstream's not in step with reality.
Of course they're not.
Like the term demonologist, we've been saying that
Well, just give your definition. Deb can give her definition. I'll give my definition. Then we'll just kind of describe how we describe it, like in Haunted Investigations. How we explain to people. This is how you know if there's obviously a haunting going on.
I heard that haunting term, and it's been defined even. I don't know. That only means when it's a human spirit. But then you say demonic haunting. I just say it's any spirit, and I think it sums it up. And haunting has got to be something when it stays, when it's ongoing. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, it's not a visitation is kind of undefined haunting, because that's when it just happens once. Like relatives have been known to pay a visit before they die, and they tell you they die on the phone sometimes or whatever. You get a call. You've heard of those stories, and yeah, they're true. Well, some of them, because someone's always going to make stuff up. Your camera focuses faster than mine. I don't know what's wrong with mine tonight.
Likes me better.
Hello. But, so we use, in the mainstream, we use the term haunting because even on our page, someone made fun of it on some...
Somebody made fun of me and you didn't punch their lights out?
On some forum on Facebook saying, haunting help! Oh, that's funny! Some supposed Catholic person. They thought that was funny. And I said, you know what? I'm not talking to idiots like you. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. Well, we're trying to make sure that everybody understands what we're talking about. If I put spiritual warfare help, they're going to be like, what? Spiritual warfare help?
Yeah, what the heck is that?
It's like, how do you...
I don't understand
what kind of tools, the spirits have swords? You're going to create like 100 questions just by posting it. So we put haunting help up there because people know what it means. Now in the church, if we're at a place where they're all Catholic, we could use the other words, right? So who wants to go with that next? Because I think it's a good topic. It's just terminology, and a little more.
We'll pick on Deb. Deb, what do you describe as a haunting, sweetie? When David Landry asks us to define a haunting.
Thanks, David.
What do I describe as a haunting?
Yeah, what's your definition?
By definition,
of haunting?
When my lights flicker or my cabinet door, cabinet doors open.
That's symptoms of a haunting. What's the definition?
Total symptoms of a haunting.
Because we could just say,
or you hear
Deb's
banging,
of a haunting.
So I go to the door and there's nobody there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm the only one here.
Not anymore,
it's like you get used to it after a while. You really do.
Yeah, that's bad though.
Actually, when the dog hears it, she runs now. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Her word is check. It's like, oh, check. She flies.
Oh.
And Jake laughed about that. He goes, I love the way you trained your ma.
Oh my goodness, that's so precious.
Anything that's and a lot of times people have residual hauntings. The same scenario will play over and over every night, same time.
Totally true.
Yeah, and they call it residual, but that's because the scientific people brought it up, and they tried to give it that there's no intelligent spirits that exist outside the body. And so they
call it residual because, like you said, they don't know what to call it because, hell, that spirit's never left.
Yeah, and that's a purgatory spirit because purgatory spirits aren't necessarily there to interact with you. If you're in a house they lived in, they might be still doing house stuff. The monk in the chapel at Padre Pio's story of the monk in the chapel that we told probably too many times, or the one of those lady in whites in the castle in England, who's seen cleaning the place as a maid, and everybody knows who it is. There's even a picture of her, on the wall that they put up. But she sees only her universe the way it was when she was a maid because she ascends steps that no longer are there when she goes about her routine. And she probably had a routine, too. They say that people repeat the suicides sometimes as part of the penance, that they relive that day. And then if you are at their suicide site, I don't know if it's every time the same, night, or once every year. It depends. But that's another example right there. But there always there's an intelligence behind it. But that's kind of a different type of haunting. That's it. I just don't like the word residual because I remember talking, I think it was Greg Myers, and he...
because it it keeps coming back night after night after night, day after day. But, spirits don't only come out during the night. People need to understand this. Spirits are out 24/7, all day long, all night long. They don't have a time.
No.
Yeah, purgatory spirits don't need to wait until night either. But, if you see them at 3 a.m. or, between 2 and 4, I'd be more suspicious.
I understand that as well.
Yeah.
But I noticed a lot of these ghost shows on TV would always go at nighttime, locked down, and be locked in at nighttime. Hey, they could have gone during broad daylight. If things were going to happen, it would happen.
Yeah, especially if you're provoking it. It's not going to wait till night.
Well, an evil spirit comes after 3 a.m. Okay, I understand that. Yeah. But a regular spirit doesn't have no conception of what time it is.
No.
So they will be present morning, noon, or night.
That's true. The residual thing is also funny, too, the way these people will try to explain parapsychology, like a science part of it, as though the limestone in old basement brick somehow can record with magnets the information to make a full apparition, not distorted, with synchronized sound, sometimes in color, at least black and white's 256 shades of gray, and it didn't make sense as an electronics technician even, and dabbling in all that stuff to some degree since I was like in 3rd grade, since I got my first crystal radio, even the EVP stuff. But that's, people got to stay away from parapsychology just as much as they do the occult. Anything that crosses the line that breaks the first commandment or invites spirits that are not of God, etc. I don't know. Anything to add, Farah, as the last thing on haunted?
Well, since I was really driven to write the book Haunted Investigation, people, that's available on prayersbythebead.com or on our other website. Haunted Investigation is going to take you through the professional series of steps on how hauntings ought to be taken care of in my book. Since I understood from a young age what it was like to be haunted, anything can haunt you. A song can be haunting, and it cannot leave your memory because it keeps playing because you love it so much. Someone's perfume can haunt you. A kiss can haunt you. There's all sorts of things. When you think about something that's haunting, you think it's about something that is repetitious according to an attached feeling or an attached event. And that is how we describe, because Ken's like the ghostest with the mostest, I'm the Satanist with the bestest. As far as, what we really do and how we bring to the table. I started with ghosts in a way that was, it just wasn't really, it was kind of like wasn't really worth my time, because I understand that for the most part you can either pray them away or they're staying there. In the sense that we're using it here, David, when we talk about what is a haunt, what is a haunting, we're talking about the spirit world that is in some ways absolutely incomprehensible to us, such as human spirits that can appear as real as somebody standing next to you at a bus station, or something as ephemeral as smoke coming off, your biscuits on a cold winter day, that, it's just a wisp of a person. And as I was saying, it can occur at a specific time once a week, once a year. Rarely do human haunts occur every single day. That's why when we go into the investigation phase of trying to find out what something's happening and how often, is it rapping, is it a smell, is it a noise, what are they seeing, how often does it occur? A lot of times, if it is a haunt that you're not going to get rid of, like such as, Ken broke it down to like human positive, human negative, and all that stuff, I'm more like, can I get rid of it or can I not? A human positive that is just, I don't even call it a positive, I call it almost, it's neither positive or negative, it just is like, it's static. It maintains what it does once every 6 months, once a year, and like Ken says, it's repetitious, it's like a broken record. And it is attached to either an event, it is attached to some form of emotion, and it's been allowed to break through the veil and let people see it. A human haunt does not interact with humans 99.7% of the time. Very incredibly rare.
I agree with you, Farah.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you on that one.
Interaction isn't a tap on the wall.
No.
Or something, or footsteps. That's not interaction.
Exactly.
Interaction would be where you're getting responses, and of course you don't ask for those.
No.
Or they maybe purposely seek it.
No.
Yeah, that's very rare. I don't even know if I know of any cases where, we
not a ghost. There's all kinds of tales of ghosts in monasteries and stuff like that, where they might hear like china jiggling, or they might hear like footsteps in a house I lived in that was haunted. Certain boards would creak, which is kind of weird because you would think if the house was, pre-1900s, how could the boards have creaked back then? But obviously the way that they were set in, and they would creak in places where there were no stairs. That's what was so weird. It's like you'd hear the noises. And, okay, if you're a musician and you can hear ascending notes and descending notes, that's what it sounded like. And when you're hearing that and it's, you're like musically inclined and you're going, what the heck is that? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But it's not there to frighten you. You don't get like the typical hair on the back of your neck standing up where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna run, I'm gonna die. Turn the lights on, call the ambulance. My breath is like, can't breathe now. No. Ghost, a haunting does not elicit that sort of reaction. So we're talking about that. It's basically benign. Absolutely benign, people.
Yeah, they put prefixes on here and totally distort the haunting thing. But yeah, we're talking about something that
very
seems
much
to
so.
be an ongoing spirit activity. Well, it's just a visitation. They said that like a visitation apparition is that you actually recognize human spirits, features. It doesn't even have to be a relative. If you recognize a guy as a Civil War ghost, they still call it an apparition. It doesn't have to be your uncle who used to, work for, Lincoln in the old 1800s. I mean, great uncle. Of course, it must be really old to have an uncle like that. What am I thinking?
Oh, you're funny.
Okay, I guess we can move on from that.
I think we can move on. It's interesting that people are not quite sure what a haunt is. So, okay. Since Deb got to pick the last one, I think I'll pick the next one.
Okay, right on the list there.
Let's see. And we've only got like about 15, 20 minutes till top of the hour.
Yeah.
How about...
I pick white eyes.
pick white eyes. No, I want people to have to leave the lights on tonight. I'm going to pick that like close to the last.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about just say no to generational spirits, because it's like I want to sell like a Nike or something that you can like wear in the middle of the night and do like the Hayu Kung Fu kind of thing. Go away, go away. That kind of like attitude where you recognize the temptation, you recognize the invitation, and you're like, Uncle Joe had that. Grandma Sue had that. Bobby Boy, he tried that twice. I'm not playing that.
Oh, let's keep it in the family. No, let's not.
And there's so much more to it. It's just, okay. Ken, why did you write just say no?
This is a conversation I had with somebody who's having difficulty in their life, so to speak, in one of our cases. And I told them that, and I thought, this is interesting because there's some people out there that are on, one side, we'll just call it the left or something, and they act like that you have to get your family tree healed, and all that stuff. They go over the top. Then you got the other ones, who might believe there's nothing that comes from the family outside of, anyway, you're not even original sin. So, of course, the correct answer is in the middle, and it's not just one thing. So, okay, here's a good scenario. I'm going to present this to you, and Farah, you can go with it for starters because you needed an outline. Your father, we'll just say generational, mother or father, is an alcoholic. Horrible. We'll say they're passed away because it'll fit the bottom thing with the relative dies thing, too. And so what is this person going to be like spiritually, and how might they be affected just related to the alcoholism part or whatever? So give a little detail on that. I bet you'll spot it right on there.
The detail about the generational spirits of invitation?
Yeah, related because the parents are an alcoholic. We'll say that, we not aware that they've done anything else.
Well, let's just say the parents aren't an alcoholic, okay? And the kids, because there's something to be said for the power of suggestion and the desire to please one's parental unit that, will increase the incident of a child smoking or drinking, as opposed to neither parent exhibited an example of excess and gluttony as opposed to spirits or tobacco usage. And the child is drawn to it from any age, 9, 10, 11, 12, sees his friends doing it, and he comes home and his parents smell it on him. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, my friends do it. Well, you shouldn't have those kind of friends. But I can't. Well, you should tell them not to do it. And the kid keeps coming home smelling like it, and the parents are not actually exercising their parental obligation to remove the child from the situation, due to the fact that they want to be a friend to their child, and they want their child to make better choices, thinking that it's going to happen. That's a generational spirit that sucks the young in very easily. Basically, because the temptation to be in control of one's life, the temptation to be adult enough to partake in whatever their friends are partaking in, and before the adults know it, the children are either, addicted to cigarettes, addicted to drugs, and of course the parents are just befuddled. We didn't set that kind of example. We have a clean household, but our child is a slut and cannot control their appetites, much less their gluttony level. And then, you've got the parents, like, let's say the kid's in an accident, he wrecks a car because he's out and he's drunk and he's high as a kite. Well, he's just like your brother Bill. Remember your brother Bill passing out on your mom's lawn? Oh, he is not. And then the fingers start pointing and waving, and you are lining up all these people in the family that all had this inclination, and they're thinking, well, how did we go wrong? What did we not do? Here's the train, folks. Everybody hear it? Choo-choo!
We'll have to get a train sticker and put it up every time it comes on. And
it needs the animation of the train going by.
I know. Ken needs to have.
He
needs to have one of those cute little trains, that chug on by. Sonia Stebro says, "Hey, Jeb. Hey, Valerie. Hi, Don. Hi, Cecilia. Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Kevin, Michael.
Yeah, I'll put a
Steve.
train icon in there, and I'll put it on there right when the train fires up. It'll scoot across the bottom of the screen or something. No, we decided we're going to leave the door open whenever we
exactly. Oh, and Michael, that question you asked earlier about the building, we will address it. I promise you. Father Bob Bailey's here. It's Father Bob Bailey in the house. It's Father Bob Bailey in the house. Okay. Onwards and upwards. Hey, hey, hey.
Father Bob.
Hey, Father Bob. Can we do a 3-part harmony? Hey, Father Bob.
Hey, Father Bob.
Hey, Father Bob.
Hey, Father Bob.
Father Bob.
Poor Deb.
Oh,
sorry.
my God.
Excuse me.
I'm actually closer to Father Bob than you guys are.
You are.
you over there in Connecticut. What's your name?
I know. I'm about, 2 hours away from him? 2.5, maybe 3.
I think so. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So did that kind of sum it up about the generational spirits that tempted the family? Is that what you were looking for, Ken?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good.
There's not much to add without getting too much into theology, and that's not really the scope of the question. And that's what it is. Is you say no to the generational spirits, so you're more stronger temptation towards an addiction, not necessarily alcohol, but leaning towards alcohol. Mm-hmm. And you say no for whatever reason, like I don't want to see what happened to my parents happen to me. Yeah. That you actually bypass the generational spirits because you combated them and you beat them, and that's how you beat those spirits before you give them doorways and access, and they won't have that kind of influence over your whole life just by you saying no. It's the big thing. Don't go to these.
Well, the generational spirits also skip family members, as Deb and I very well know.
Every once in a while, yeah.
They do, weird, because you'll have a family that just, they don't expose their children don't see it or anything else, and all of a sudden their children has the same issues that the previous generation did. Yeah. And there's no explanation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because how are you going to say no to twins?
Go ahead, let Deb talk.
In the certain generation, it could be maybe the second child or the third child or the fourth in that generation.
Isn't that strange?
So it definitely goes that way. That's
It almost as if it cherry picks.
Yeah, not everybody's going to, just like everybody's got their own challenges, they call them monkeys on your back or demons, if you're the Eagles, but it's like you have your demons,
Everyone has their demons, and a lot of people don't even realize it, Ken.
Part of it's the attributes of the personalities.
Because we're
that
running
could be
with
that
them if
you
we're not
have
fighting
humor,
them.
creativity, concrete, sequential, abstract, random. All these personalities make a difference too, and why it might vary. Because everybody in one family isn't going to be an artist just because mom and dad were. You might have a sports kid, an oddball. Oh, you're into sports? Oh, geez, what do I do with you there? Here's a ball. Go play with it. Dad, why does it have Michelangelo on it? Oh, well, that was actually...
Ken's right about that. Somebody might not even be athletic in their family, and then there's one kid might be athletic. That's true.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. So it works the same way spiritually. I guess we can take our break, and because it's at the top of the hour, just to tease people a little longer, but it won't be that long. It'll just be
just grab a little bit of chocolate, a little crackers on cheese, walk your dog. We'll be right back because we've got so much more to talk about, folks, and you're going to want to leave the lights on tonight.
I think ours are on bright enough for everybody.
I know. So the Real Deals will be back in the sack, folks. Don't go away. Cheese!
Along with my wife, Farah Rose Deel, and we're going to talk to you real quick about our books. So we have 5 books available right now and 1 on deck. The books are the Catholic Demonologist Handbook, along with the Workbook and Study Guide, and the Christian Demonologist Handbook, along with the Workbook and Study Guide. And that's for all denominations. Well, we also have the Haunting Self-Help Guidebook.
Any and all of these books are going to help direct you to not just the natural causes, prevention, prayers to assist you, to keep you and your family protected.
Yes, real solutions done by real people in the field. And we're sharing our knowledge and information to help you help yourself, or help a friend or a client if you're in the field yourself.
www.swordsofstmichael.org or
www.catholicdemonologist.com. You can buy the books direct and get them personally signed.
Are you looking for something special to remind you what a mystical experience prayer can be? Are you looking for something beautiful to hang in your car for protection? Try Prayers by the Bead. You'll find a variety of original, one-of-a-kind Anglican prayer beads, Lutheran, Methodist, Catholic prayer beads that are made to your specification using our materials or your materials made to order in just about any design that inspires you to get prayed right up.
Farah has about over 100 in her inventory pre-made, and guys, yes, there's plenty of rosaries and designs for you to give to your father, for yourself, for your own prayer life.
We have a variety of exorcism medals, including the St. Benedict cross, beads, anything for your spiritual warfare needs. So, if you'd like some more information, find my page on Facebook, Prayers by the Bead.
www.etsy.com/shop/Farah Rose.
Or on Facebook, Prayers by the Bead.
2 weeks from tonight, Father Mike Driscoll returns to our table, our round table. He's a PhD. He's savvy, so to speak, in the spiritual warfare arts. Don't you like that better when it says arts? This way, we'll come up with a new catchphrase for, instead of demonologist, and see in 10 years how many people have adopted it, not originally understanding where it came from. But hey, you know what? He's going to be here for 2 hours, and he's got some great topics on mental versus demonic possession that him and Father Chad are right up there on these topics, and they need to be discussed, because there's a lot of people saying, hey, my mother, my brother, my sister is possessed. And that's the way it is. That's the beauty of the whole thing.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, folks,
we're
back. Right back into this whole thing here with the Ask a Demonologist.
That's right. We're going to do the Ask a Demonologist because you know what? Michael can't wait. And
okay, go ahead. The question.
This question is too good because it's been asked and we really haven't addressed it live.
Yeah.
Suicides, God, bless them. Let them rest in peace. May God grant them eternal rest. They happen every day, folks. And I'm sorry I don't have the suicide hotline up. And I didn't warn Jennifer for talking about that. This is a little bit
That's okay.
off the cuff. And it's important to think about. At a building that Michael knows, there was a friend of his had asked him, somebody committed suicide there. The woman set herself on fire.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. And I guess there are occurrences happening in this building the construction workers are experiencing. So people are wondering, should they have rosaries prayed there to get rid of the residue? How should they handle this?
Definitely. Padre Pio,
yes,
who encountered the monk in the chapel at his monastery, the spirit said that all he had to, say 3 masses, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So anytime you can go and you can offer a mass up for a poor soul, you can say, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, I love you, save souls, but that doesn't designate what soul.
No, it doesn't.
And it doesn't make it. They may not be there with penance. That you may not have paid. To have them released, So
thank you, Jennifer.
Rosary is really good, But there's 7-day novena. It's it's on our website, but you can't access it very easy on the mobile.
True.
It's prayers for purgatory spirits. It's on SortofSaintMichael.org under the Haunting Help menu, and you go to prayers.
And you can also have your local priest come out and bless the place, wherever you live, whatever county you live in.
You really can.
And thank you to Jennifer. The suicide hotline prevention is 1-800-273-8255.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks for reading that off, Deb. I felt stupid for not having it.
Yeah.
But I had to get cheese and I had to take care of the dog.
The purgatory spirit won't leave when you use Jesus' name or anything. You have to offer a ransom. You're paying the ransom. They're being held there by their own accord, and often, some cases, it's demonic spirits, depending what kind of life they led. And when that's finally paid to the last penny, that Bible quote says, something along that very much. But the 7-day novena has been very effective, and I added it into the Catholic Demonologist Handbook before I printed it when I was printing it off the Underground edition.
And Mike, what would you recommend, these guys that are talking to Mike about this and saying, this stuff is going on. Is there anything that Michael can recommend? Because they're worried about a residual haunting, a residual evil there. Mm-hmm. Can you tell Michael something that he can recommend to these people that they can personally do so that they're not bothered or troubled by whatever is left over from the suicide?
Oh, those, like I said, 2 things. The 7-day novena, I think it's St. Bridget. And the rosary, going to Mass and offering Masses is very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we don't deal with those much, because you can do that remotely easy.
Oh, yes.
Not like the Bob Larson way, getting on Skype and charging somebody $2,500 to deliver them from a demon.
Smack them over the head with a couple?
You just give them prayers and the couple can say it. And then if it doesn't go away or get quiet, see, it may not go away, but it'll get quiet if you say early prayers. If it doesn't do anything to it and it actually makes it worse, then you're most likely looking at spirits. It's not good, either a human or inhuman spirit. And then that's Deb's thing is good because you want to do that by default. Even if you're not sure which one it was in the ending, what's the unhealthy curiosity you're going to serve anyway if the problem's solved, right?
So true.
Yeah. I hope you guys can get to that, though. I'm trying to fix it for mobile phones because we just put it up. And
thanks for your patience. Yeah. Technology is slowly but surely catching up.
It's the menu. It won't expand on the third level.
Isn't that crazy how that works?
I'm not even sure what to do, and I don't have any mentors for that. You're using, the scripting or whatever.
You ready for the next Ask a Demonologist question?
Yeah. You want to pick the next one there, Farah?
Oh, I've got one that written in. This comes from a current case that we got out of southern Alabama, and this case is pretty in depth, folks. A lot of times, just like with the last Ask a Demonologist we were talking about, where there's a case of suicide, sometimes for whatever reason, certain locations, they're not. I don't call them magnets, but for whatever reason, there is an excess of ugly demonic attraction and energy there. So people are shot there, people are stabbed there, people do horrible things to other people. And the same goes for cases of child abuse, as we were talking about earlier with generational spirits. So the question I have for Ken tonight is, we have a lady that denies, which is rare because the rest of the women in her family were sexually molested by the father. She denies that this occurred as a child. She went through abusive relationships growing up, has one relationship now with a very long marriage that is not exactly close, kind of tenuous, but they're coming up on, I think, 33 years. And the woman has noticed for the past 2 or 3 years that she's developing a lot of, shall we say, bad luck, with cars, with appliances breaking down, that sort of thing. And the sad thing is, and the reason that this is a good question for you, Ken, is because a lot of times we have to look at the mental state of a person. And in this case, there is a history of the mother having mental illness. There is a history of paranoid schizophrenia. There's so much anxiety. There's so much more to it than that. The woman is, taking some anxiety drugs. Yet there are things that are absolutely inexplicable, and I guarantee no amount of Bus Bar or Xanax will make some of these things go away. So the question is, if you are experiencing physical sensations that the other person in the house does not have, could that be even though you're on your medication, you're being good, you're doing your prayers, there's no explanation why would, and this doesn't happen every day, Ken. This only happens like maybe once every couple weeks or so, where she sits on an object, either on a couch or she lays down, and she has an intense kind of like a bumblebee, like bzzz, bzzz. And she asks her better half, well, do you feel that? And he's like, no.
Is it localized?
As far as localized, she's sitting on it.
Oh, so did she look for a phone?
Well, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's got animals and stuff like that. And my first thought is, I'm like, okay, how old is the furniture? Because folks, I don't care if you're on a bed or something. If springs are old, they go, bing, or you'll sit on them and you'll get the end of the zzz. Interesting things happen. So, what do you think, Ken? Could this be, another indication that there is more to her mental illness, or could this be that, along with the other things she's experiencing, like the shadows and some of the knocks, could this be the beginning of the invitation to a negative haunting?
Yeah, without going into detail on the other experiences, it did seem like something was going on in the house, and then we're like, okay, what part of this is mental on the second part? Because people don't imagine shadowy, because they're darker than the dark room and they're shaped like Oscar the Trophy. We know that one right away, and they don't reveal that in all the movies either, what it looks like in its shape. outside of some hat man or something, as they call it sometimes. But yeah, the fact that the husband doesn't feel it means it's not like, the spirits affecting this physical world. It's a body sensation. And they can't possibly, like, make a couch vibrate, just for that person and not the other person on the couch also. They'll feel something. Or they can put their ear down, if they put their ear down on a pillow or anything.
Yeah.
Because that will be evident then, too. If they tried to do that, tried to put your ear on the surface, there's only when they're sitting in that. Is that known? Yeah.
Like I said, it's only her. Nobody else has felt it.
Yeah, it could be just like an oppression. People hear phantom noises. There's an annoying thing that they mess up your sleep patterns by just when you're falling asleep, some noise that doesn't belong will occur that'll wake you up, like glass breaking, even though you only have plastic cups in the house, a clay vase breaking, even though you don't have plants in the house, and those type of
Very
things.
true.
And it's funny that they pick noises that will alarm you awake, and that sometimes are very obviously not going to be in your room, so you don't even have to get up and look. Like if you hear a woman's voice and you're living alone in a house as a guy, it's like, okay, I know that a woman lives here. That's pretty plain and simple. Why would they make it so obvious? Yeah, that could be oppression for some reason, and if she's got like this large soul wound background past that that you and I talk about with these cases, that's such an underlining thing that might be the way it's there. Gosh, the more we read about this saints things trying to nitpick at our own personal growth as Franciscans,
Yes.
we realize how many levels the devil can get into you just on, not into you, but at you, because oppression's still somewhat on the surface, and they can do things like make you feel like you're being pricked by pins and
Yes.
cause heart rate acceleration, but they're not going to be doing anything besides some superficial on the outside, like trying to actually damage you on the internal organs and that sort of thing. I don't know. And what to do is another thing in itself.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's how do we know that it's just not a demonic masking? That's what I call the buzzing and noises that sometimes can be heard when somebody's in the beginning of an oppression. They lay down on a pillow and they hear like this chatter and this buzzing.
It sounds like a cell phone sometimes when you're listening to a cell phone.
There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason for it.
There was this one case where the couple couldn't have children, and the spirit was mimicking sounds like they were making fun of them. Like trying to torment them.
Yes.
Now, if a person's addicted to phone, they might mimic phone buzzing. You know what I mean? You might feel the sensation of when it's going off in your pocket and it's doing that. That's what I was asking about that, because there's another thing that is related to a transitional period, and it's not a buzz. You cannot hear it, but if the surface that you spend a lot of time on, like watching TV at night on a couch or your favorite chair or in bed, that you might, more often wake up in the middle of the night on it. When you get what I call a vibrating bed, that means there's something happening between oppression and possession, where they're trying to actually move into you. But this case, you don't hear that, but it feels like some vibration, like you have a poodle on your bed, but you don't know it. And that doesn't vibrate like with a noise, right?
Like lady.
Exactly, like a lady, I know, right?
Like Chihuahua.
Speaking of poodles, I have to give a shout out to Jennifer and lady's friend Peanut. She says hello. And are you guys ready for the next Ask a Demonologist question? Or Deb, do you want to add anything to that weird vibrational kind of thing going on?
Yeah.
Before we had all that stuff going on with my brother about his possession, when I was a teenager, my bed used to vibrate. And I used to sleep with my bedroom door closed because I was never allowed to go in my parents' bedroom. They slept with their door closed, and my brothers had their door closed. Well, they were little anyways. I was the oldest, and I would get vibrations on my bed, and then I would start getting tugs at my blanket. So and I was a teenager then. So we had problems before the possession ever started.
That's amazing.
But I never told anybody because they would have thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
Being a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, saying,
Of
my bed
course.
was vibrating and the blankets were being pulled off me, you know?
Yeah.
They had to
Exactly.
actually wait and see my brother.
Yeah. Well, people that experienced that
Full-blown
before know
possession.
exactly what we're talking about. And it's an unearthly, and it's almost like a there's a big motor without hearing the sound. And the
Oh, yeah, you
vibration's
don't hear
very-
the sound.
Yeah, it's very
The
sudden.
bed just starts vibrating and it wakes you right up.
Yeah, and it's
So
not
it's like
not a heavy
my bed
vibrate. It's faster though, like it was a faster RPM motor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know
And
what?
you become scared,
Besides
and you pull the covers up over you, and all of a sudden you feel somebody playing tug of war with your covers. Yeah.
I haven't read this, in any of the books, like Gabriel Amorth or even Father Chad Rippinger or anything. And we've had a lot of cases, and then I go, anything happen unusual when you're in a bed, and then we can find out where they're at in their oppression. So because of you, there's something you always had some like special protection, Deb, and and you're a tough cookie, even though you don't think you are.
Exactly.
It was going to possession.
I never thought I was tough either, but you know who told me I was tough?
Yeah.
Gerald Brittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his words, always resided within me, and I never thought I was, but
Yes.
I had to be. I had to be because
You didn't
I
have a
wanted
choice.
everything proven to me. You can't just tell me something, and that's what it is. Oh, no, I'm going to call you out on it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what made Gerald think I was tough, because what he wrote in the book was true. How I spoke. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
And I needed everything to be proven to me because I didn't believe in any of this stuff. I wanted proof, and I was given proof. And you know what? I never asked for proof again, because then I was directed to the Lord.
Yes.
And that's what changed my life.
That's smart.
Gerald Brittle, for the benefit of the watching audience, the author of Deb's Encounter. This is mildly put, without going into great detail. The Devil in Connecticut, written in about 1980, I think, or 82. And the book called The Demonologist. And Gerald introduced me and Deb. So back in 2007. And so we appreciate that from Gerald. So he's been a friend of yours a lot longer, going all the way back to 1983 or 84.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, you were a puppy. Serious puppy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I came across a few things today. I was going through some, those plastic tubs where you save things.
Yeah.
And I told Ken earlier tonight, I said, I came across a few things, like when Arnie and I got married, it was front page, and how it was our whole life story when the movie came out, the book came out.
Yeah.
Then I showed it to Jake earlier today. He goes, "Gee, Mom, you were hot when you were young." I said, "Yeah, well, things change when you get older, Jake."
I look more like
so true.
I look more like a biker now than an '80s hair band lead singer.
Well, you look better. You look better now than you did then.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Hey, other people in the chat room our Facebook Live feed have said that they've had the ear ringing thing and the vibrational thing.
Yeah.
And folks, I just want to reiterate here, okay, the battle's already been won. If you feel it, use the name of Jesus, tell it to go away.
Yeah, and get in the habit of doing that.
Get in the
every time
habit
you
of
feel
just
it.
using the name of Jesus. Say, get away, get behind me, go away, Jesus said so just leave me. All right, final one, because we got so many other things to do. Final question for tonight, you guys. Difference between an exorcist and a demonologist. Not a proctologist, a demonologist.
Oh, my gosh.
What's the difference?
Difference is demonologist, by definition, and I'm not talking about Wikipedia, really isn't what the infamous late Ed Warren did, and that was he did just about everything except he didn't do exorcisms, and it just means a study of demons. It means that, okay, when we use it, it's a mainstream thing, but everybody attaches the Ed Warren label to it. We investigate,
so.
we do consulting, we do counseling, which is, you talk to the people. Consulting is when you consult someone or consult with someone who is actually, no, they consult with you, I guess the word is, I'm getting that mixed up, who is actually working with somebody. And that can be priest or psychologist or, paranormal investigators here. We don't keep anybody unplugged on that. And it goes all the way to, what we call it, a discernment team. Interviews and investigations, which you got to have a good bedside manner, to get at the truth and to not be hard and cold, because these people cry. And it goes all the way to the final thing is like, what do you do when you're interviewing and the person becomes under possession to the point where you cannot just leave and go try to find a priest? Well, I don't know who can do that.
We're talking about the difference between exorcist and demonologist.
But that's what the demonologist is supposed to be. But that's what we do. We do everything but exorcisms. We call the priest when it comes time to get the jobs done. Even though we had, we'll just say, case of emergency, you got. Not to. I mean, talking
we'll
about
do
people.
a whole show on depreciative and imperative exorcism, folks.
Oh yeah, exorcist.
We can break it down.
Exorcist. Okay, I guess we should say that too.
Yeah, we'll take a whole show because we've only got about a half an hour. We got so much more to get through.
No, we're okay. Just on this real quick. Exorcist. It meant it's Latin. Roman Catholic priest. If anybody calls himself an exorcist and they're not Roman Catholic priest, not New Catholic or Modern Catholic, whatever they put in a prefix, just means they're not Roman Catholic, and they're just using the name Catholic. It means a Catholic priest, and it's a Catholic priest who is performing, who performs an exorcism, who has been appointed by his bishop to be an exorcist, designated. Now, every bishop, by default, is an exorcist, being ordained.
Exactly.
But they don't necessarily do that. They will appoint one in their diocese, And so, whenever people use that, they use it out of context because they like riding the coattails. And some of them go so far as to put on Roman collars. Even Bob Larson did that. He's a non-denominational minister. He used to wear the suit and ties like the typical other denominations. And then he started wearing a Roman collar after he went to the Vatican. And who was there then? Was it Francis? I don't know. He took a documentary team. Okay, we'll go on to the next one, but that kind of gives you the nutshell of it, what the words are.
Yeah, and Rose did say thank you.
And is what, Ken?
Yes, what, Ken?
We can do that one that's right here. I'll pick the Nephilim and vampires one right here.
That's your favorite.
It's Barnabas Collins. Is he combing his hair with a switchblade?
That's his
cane.
Remember his cane that used to come alive? That was like his familiar he carried around, and then he beat the heck out of people with it. It was bizarre.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Colin. Actually, where my husband is working, he's working in Sono, which is South Norwalk, is building a mall, and it's right next door, to Matthew's Mansion, and that's where the Dark Shadows was filmed at Matthew's Mansion.
Tell him to get pictures for us so we can like look at them.
Oh yeah, we love the old houses.
I took plenty of pictures for Ken. I sent it to him.
Ken, where they at? Where they at?
Did you get a selfie with Barnabas?
Where they at, Ken? I'm gonna just poke you a good one.
I don't know. You sent me a long time ago, like when you sent me the pictures you guys took of I visited Pythian Castle in 2007.
I know.
Yeah.
And I used to run home after school just to watch Barnabas Collins with my mother.
Yeah, when Deb came into town in 2007, I took her to that landmark. Before it was anything really, it was no one really was like treating it like a haunted investigation. But I got to know the owner a little bit, and she was gracious enough to give you a tour and didn't charge money, and she took some time. That was really sweet of her.
It was a personal tour. You called her, and she opened it up. You told her who we were, and she opened it up. She was wonderful.
Yeah. And we still got pictures somewhere online.
I didn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I was like 40 pounds.
That's the best time I had out there.
Yeah. We went to a cave last time you were out here. One of the Missouri's called the cave state for everybody out there. And I don't know how many caves there are. I can't even remember.
Oh, we went to the cave, right, Farah?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was pretty freaky.
That guy doesn't know it, but if the apocalypse comes, me and my wife and kids are all moving into that cave, and they can't do anything about it.
It's like, scoot over,
It's
we're
just
bringing
too-
our dead deer and our poodle.
It's too cool, and it'll be cool enough for Farah.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that too. You know, imagine having your wallpaper with fossils. Hey, I like that. Real fossils.
So tell us, Ken, are the vampires really Nephilim?
The person who asked this, I think it's a legitimate question. First time I ever heard of this before. But is that saying that vampires and Nephilim share the blood sucking? Well, I mean, if the Nephilim were actually supposedly like part demon, that would be true. But we're not talking. Let's not talk about the legend or the mythology of the Nephilim. I think that did you notice when you read two different versions of the Bible, and one they say the Nephilim, they insert it in a word where it said giants.
Hang on a second. Okay, I got the exact for all you Bible thumpers out there. The Nephilim are only mentioned in Genesis and Numbers 6 and 13, okay? And they don't exactly tell us, who the Nephilim, really are, where they came from. They are just mentioned. They are just mentioned, such as in, like, the principality of the virtues. They're just mentioned as, mortal angels. Yep. They are not given to distinct descriptions of how tall they were, or how ugly they were, or how they did this and they did that and they bred with humans. The Nephilim, according to God's creation, they didn't have flesh. So if they didn't have flesh, they couldn't have bred with women. So it's my understanding from reading everything from Apocrypha to old translations that these were definitely, taller, unusually tall, species of humankind that unfortunately were severely evil and did breed with women and probably bred some very tall people. Consequently, they were not gods and they were not angels. They were confused with the earliest form of demons that were in the guise of angels. And there's no evidence to suggest that they were otherwise. And I know there's some fabulous shows out there that show all kinds of weird craniums and everything else and say, oh yes, look at some of these tall people that were 6, 8, 9 feet tall. Anomalies exist in every species, okay, people? The whole myth of the Nephilim is just a myth.
Yeah, what if they found the elephant man bones and they didn't know about the story of the elephant man? Would they come up with a race of elephant men or whatever distortions and use that skull as an example of a tribe when it was just one person with birth defects?
Well, actually, Ken, elephant man, that is a disease.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So that so they treat rickets.
That's different.
There was people who were so malnourished they had rickets.
Yes.
And they treat that like a slouching ape posture. So they use that as some excuse to say that there's a missing link. You got a chest cavity that is hunched over like an ape, like a gorilla or something. And
oh yes.
Yeah. So. And then, it's like I said, when I was looking at the Bible verses, they replaced the word giants. Remember, it said there were giants in those days. And we all know dinosaurs were here. So what are you guys looking for 18-foot men? Because you had the Brontosaurus. We found T-Rex. Talk about giant and terrible and demonic looking. I mean, you think the T-Rex looks like Barney? The one that dances around with a giant toothbrush on Brush Your Teeth Day for kids?
Hey, I told you I used to play Barney when I was a singer.
I thought
so.
Oh,
my gosh.
Did you dance with a giant toothbrush?
I didn't, not a toothbrush, honey, but I was a singing Barney when I did singing.
Remember how
telegrams.
Barney's got these great set of choppers, really bright teeth? Hi, I'm Barney.
That was just wrong. Okay.
Betty.
Vampires and Nephilim, stick to the point.
Okay, so the blood part and all that stuff. So they're thinking, is the legend come from there? Like, are vampires, modern, I'm not going to say modern day, but in the past, was it just kind of like leftover Nephilims or future versions of Nephilim? Well, those are people who usually go along with this Nephilim idea, think that somehow demons mated with women, which they can't. They can't carry a seed. Seed is the gift to mankind, and you know how that happens. They're spirits. They're not physical beings. So, and people are going by the Book of Enoch, which the Book of Enoch was, known since its first existence, and they considered it Gnostic, and it's way off. If you want to know what the version of Enoch is, the Noah account with Russell Crowe we talked about a week ago. On that other topic, I guess this kind of interludes on that.
Kind of like
this
segues.
Like, can a demon get a? Let me go back to here. What's it invites an incubus and succubus? Yeah, that was another question. I guess we could save that one.
Yeah, we've only got a half hour left. Let's save it till next week.
But that's what it is. It's depends on what you call a Nephilim. And I think I saw this documentary you're looking at, Farah, too. They got this giant human bone, and they drew a picture of an 18-foot man and said, see, it fits right there. It's the, what leg bone is that? The one that's above the knee, between that and the pelvis or whatever. I don't know. What's that called? The hip bone? Or I don't know. But, it's like, what do people think? That when you find a giant 18-foot skeleton, that everybody's got Men in Black in every country, and then they rush out and they keep it hushed and they go haul it off? Why? Why didn't they haul off the dinosaurs? T-Rex discovered, the Men in Black are here, and now it's all gone. They closed the cave with a dynamite. Knock off the stupid conspiracy theories. If they're going to find it, they're going to stick it in the Smithsonian. And every country doesn't have our, government idiots like we do here. They want to, show up and you have a flying saucer showing up. What do you think that the Air Force crashed a jet and that burned your crops? And that's why the government's here. Not because they're trying to hide some UFO aliens. They're satanic encounters, so we talked about that before anyway. Now you're getting me on a rant.
Oh, it's okay. Athena was just correcting.
They're not related.
It's femur. That's a femur.
Thank you very much. The two. There's no tie or relation. Actually, are more related to incubus, succubus, and the old hag. Vampires aren't. So, but since the other question was answered, we'll move along there. So, which one would you like to do next, here, Farah?
I know, Deborah.
White eyes. Hello,
white eyes. I knew she was like, give me the
white eyes. Or a person.
This one came up because the person said they saw a white-eye spirit. There was two of them, but do you remember the one that...
But the question says white eyes on a spirit or a person.
Yeah, because we could talk about both.
I can answer this from experience.
Okay, go ahead.
Either white eyes on a spirit or a person. When my brother was possessed, his eyes rolled back and there was nothing but white eyes at times.
Was he unconscious then?
Yep.
Yes.
Ooh, that reminds me of Rasputin.
Did they have to lift his eyelids up?
The eyes were open. There was no eyes in there but whites.
Thank you very much, Deb. Thank you very much. Sometimes you got to lift the eyelids
other
up.
Times, the eyes would be open and there would be nothing but black.
Oh my gosh.
That's a different thing.
You didn't have a whole pupil, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, white means they vacated, they're catatonic, comatose kind of thing, and black means that they're there and they're being driven.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. This is why your case is such a perfect example, and I always...
That's why I said, let's get to the white eyes, because I know I've seen this.
Okay, Deb, on the second part, why don't go ahead and answer the other one. Now, have you known or seen and experienced a spirit that has white eyes instead of, say, black or no eyes?
Hold on a second. We haven't seen Fiddy in forever.
Who's that?
Fidel, how are you?
Who is it?
Fidel Villarreal.
Oh, Fidel.
We haven't seen Fiddy in forever. He's so busy.
No, it is because we're not in the other old chat room.
I know, but he's so
I've
popular.
Got to be able to get back into the old chat room.
He's got all these friends. It's like he's got all these new homies to hang with. It's like he finally remembered us. And hi, Margaret, and hi, Dawn, and hi, everybody else. Okay, go ahead, you guys.
Well, you can say who's in there. I don't even know who's in there because I'm going to interface the chat, I hope. And we'll see some of the scrolls.
Even Rose is like, Fidel! Oh, my gosh. So, you guys, white eyes. Oh, my gosh, Deb, you poor thing. What the heck?
Oh, Deb, did you want to...
I've seen it both. I've seen both. The white eyes, and then I've seen the black eyes that were like a shark's eyes. You just
what about on
black.
A spirit?
What's that, Ken?
What about on a spirit that you saw that manifested or that you experienced? Did you see white eyes on a spirit?
What I had seen, it was an evil spirit, and it was dark eyes.
Okay, see, that's
solid black.
I can't say that I know of or anything that was their white eyes, except sometimes they look like a marble, and the reflection, like a cat, looks like it's white or glowing.
No,
that's not the same.
When David was under possession, would either go solid black or would go solid white, like you're showing the picture here.
I was talking about spirit there, not the possessed person. I was talking about a ghost or whatever perceived.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I've only seen possession look like that.
Oh, okay.
And not spirit.
Okay, Farah, what about spirits with you starting off into one? Because I think we talked about this.
As far as what I've seen, what I think, I'm misunderstanding the
all
question.
Of that. Research, experienced people's cases.
Oh, she's having a dead moment.
No, I'm just spirits. Like, I hear you guys talking, and it's like, okay, I need something, a direction to go with, because, I can talk about a bunch of different directions.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm talking about like your own personal experience or understanding that. Have you seen a white-eyed?
Okay, let me tell you guys this much: the number one reason I hate dolls is because I've had experience with dolls. Like Deb said, all they are is white eyes. I don't like dolls. I don't like stuffed dolls. I don't like Barbie dolls. I don't like porcelain dolls. I don't like any dolls. As far as I'm concerned, they can stay in a box and they can go away to the bottom of the ocean. Now, as far as spirits and other things go, the majority of things I've seen are pitch black. It's almost as if, how black sometimes has its own shine that is absolutely, it's like an ethereal pitch black blue of space. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I've seen.
Okay, that's not white eyes, though.
No, it's not white eyes.
Kind of a variation of black
white eyes. The only thing I've seen is ghosts that are white that could have had white eyes. So no, I don't really have any experiences with white-eyed anything other than, actual people, like Deb was saying, like people that are oppressed, possessed, on drugs, that sort of thing. Yeah,
I'll just say I pretty much agree with what you guys are saying without going into detail. The only thing I noticed that. Someone asked me if they might have experienced that, and I told them I said sometimes people with cataracts or the right light when they're walking in the daytime, because some people look for stuff too much, I guess, I don't know, will make it give the impression that their eyes are solid white. Now, solid black is unmistakable, now if you're in the daytime, especially, as you know, Deb, and we know from our experiences too, on a live and living person. But in Hollywood, it looks really creepy. When you got these two white marbles in their eye sockets, and even on the movie that I was in, that documentary "Children of the Grave," they used children with white eyes in there because it's creepy. On the cover of that movie, that had some realistic portrayals of exorcisms. That has a nun on the cover, and I can't remember the name of it. And she's got white eyes. Some old Mother Teresa-looking nun got white eyes. Hollywood loves it. It's more of a Hollywood thing. Now, there is that one weird picture that's supposed to have been taken in the Amityville house.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but it looks like a reflection of eyes, like when a flash goes off. And it's not the eyes that are white, you know what I mean? So I don't even know if that counts. I also don't know if it's legitimate. I don't know. I wasn't there. I used to think I knew who those people were who investigated the place. But, I don't know. I don't know people as well as I'd like to on that, so I'm not even going to comment on that. Let's go to back to the big list.
The big list.
You can mention, thank you everybody for listening, watching, however you're getting the show in, and then being in the comments and scrolling and typing. You can add more questions as we go still. There's still time.
Yes, there's still time.
You must see my pics of the spirit.
Oh,
I get this. You know what this is, though?
We're going to have to wait to do Ouija board next week because I got way too much information. So let's
that was the main draw. That's why we should have done it first.
Maybe
we should do it now.
It's going to take it more than 20 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Well, do you want to do that one or the... Oh, well, we already did that at the beginning. Never mind.
Yeah, that's true, because when we go into details, these are almost like a topic in itself. I hate to draw people here on an idea of the Ouija board and we never even get to it.
Well, I guess we can touch upon it a little bit if you want,
okay,
and then finish it next week. Okay, go ahead and finish your other topic, and then we'll start the Ouija board.
Oh, I'm not even going to start it, because I'm going to start the Ouija board.
Well, you know, like I said, there's way too many, so start your other topic, and then we'll finish with the Ouija board. Yeah.
Well, I don't, like I said, I didn't have that in the marquee, so to speak, and you know, the headliner band doesn't play. People are going to throw speakers and seats.
Bag for my head.
You should know that, right? Oh shoot! See, not lucky a dime.
Okay, folks.
You've haunted the place.
Everybody's like, Ouija board, yeah.
No, okay,
I'm seeing all like the thumbs up.
Right.
Okay. So, I know, indecision, Michael. Oh my gosh.
Well, I guess the history, is another
Sonia
thing
says,
itself.
talk fast.
Yeah.
Oh, Valerie, don't even go off on charismatics. We are not going there tonight.
It will have to be addressed because it's a cult.
Well, certain parts of it
it's
are.
New Agey.
There's, Okay. So, history. The Ouija board, Ken.
Okay, we're just going to go through the bullet point list.
Here we are, folks.
History at
almost
part
top
two.
of the hour. We got a lot to talk about. We might have to continue it next week.
Yeah.
Ouija board.
Well, I got 12 points here, right here. Why is the Ouija
history?
board more dangerous than, say, the pendulum? And, why pick on the Ouija board is the thing.
So you're talking facts before history, then?
Yeah, because we don't have time for the history and the facts and everything else. I thought you could do
Okay,
history
go ahead.
next week.
We'll just do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. We can go over this because this stuff is just mind-blowing, people. Mind-blowing.
In history, you see part of there with the Fox sister, one of the Fox sisters, Mm-hmm. But why is it more dangerous? Why are we always picking the Ouija board? Well, it is one of the most sensitive devices. Thomas Edison was trying to make a device. It's like, Houdini. These people were just obsessed. And we were all stupid, in the old days, that we didn't know that, a demon can come in there and, we thought we were all trapped in hell and, except for tempting you by some means, a can and a string or something. How would they tempt you if they're all trapped in hell, for one? So everybody thought that you just use one and then a spirit, if a ghost is there haunting your house, he'll answer on it. So there's a lot of ignorance with that, and there's something about the sensitivity of the device, like with the pendulum and things that have a sensitive nature, even a random number generator like the obelisk that spawns or triggers a sound synthesis board that's in a built-in database. But it's not more dangerous than a pendulum. They're all equally dangerous, but some people think that it's more dangerous. Maybe it's because of the touching, the planchette, that people are kind of connecting intimately to the board instead of just, but then again, that's what you're doing with the pendulum.
The whole reason that they actually insisted on having two people was a transferal of energies. Because it is the concept of you have one battery, and without another battery, there will be no generating the energies to talk to the spirits. So it required two people to draw the spirits in so that they could transfer these electromagnetic energies. That's why it was shopped and marketed as a dating tool, folks. So boys could get their little knees up against the girls' knees.
And it was only 95 cents.
That's the way it used to be, Farah.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
you always needed another person.
Always.
I agree with you totally. But at one point, I was able to use a Ouija board with no one except myself.
That's why they warn you shouldn't do it.
It didn't take long.
With that Ouija board, I was able to tell the sex of my first son, which was a male, the time he was born, and how many pounds he was going to be, and the date he was born. And I did that, and I was 19 at the time. And then nothing happened until I was about 25 when all hell broke loose.
Wow, honey.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the
So
horrific
if
thing.
your energy is strong enough, you can control and manipulate that board. You don't even have to have your hands on the planchette. You can just have your hands just hovering above the planchette.
And Deb,
Yeah.
the reason for that is when you give any spirit license to talk to you, just like when you give your guardian angel a mental note, please help me, guardian angel. Guess who's standing right next to your guardian angel that you can also give a mental note? Hey, come talk to me. They're more than willing. Flying cockroaches ready to land at any moment.
Yeah. I could take away
I've
your
seen both
pain.
sides of the coin, honey.
Yeah, sadly you have,
Picture
sweetie.
Golem.
I had to learn the hard way.
You did.
Yeah.
That wasn't
I
the
had
hard
to
way. That was
go
the
through it in order
hell
to
way.
believe it.
With the history, we'll talk
Oh
about
my
case.
gosh.
We'll talk about case histories when we do the history next week. Which can Deb, you can hopefully make it next week. And
Well, you've
then
got some more facts to go over, don't you, Charlie?
Why does it affect some and not others? I'm going to start with this, and then we'll hear from you two ladies. And that's people don't look for the signs a lot of times, and like how it can affect your life and is your marriage together. Do you have fibromyalgia now? Did you get cancer? Are you suffering, kidney stones like every other day?
That's not funny.
How's your household finances and your overall job experiences? And did your friends turn on you and just leave out of the blue? Not just your husband or your wife. Those kind of things. They don't look for that. They always look for things that go bump in the night. But demons, evil spirits who work with demons. I'm talking evils like condemned spirits. Prefer the work and then destroy your life when you don't know it. But they're forced to reveal themselves by your guardian angels, the powers of heaven, to make things go bump in the night, so you take notice, and hopefully you won't do something stupid. Any thoughts on adding to that? Why does it affect some and not others? Is the general question on that, or the topic? Because people have said, I've used it for 30 years.
I always say, Ken, sometimes people have blinders on, they ignore it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it, if people ignore it, they won't rationalize and see what's actually going on around them.
That's for sure.
I see that in a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's kind of putting in a short version on that, definitely. What do you think about when
it is.
people say they've used a board for 20 years, and they might even say it's been a great help or whatever, and well, I haven't had any problems with it, and they act like that's the end-all, be-all. Doesn't it nullifies, in their opinion, every experience such as you had or anybody, which is many, and somehow or another, just because they had no problem with, the rest of us are all nuts or, over-religious or something. What do you say about that, Deb?
I agree with you, Ken. I really do. It's, the Ouija board, it's nothing to mess around with, people. The devil will tell the truth for so long, but then after that, that's when your hell will break loose. He is the father of lies, and you have to understand this. He'll mix truth with the lies.
Yeah. And then when it comes in, like you said, to the point where you're no longer of use and they're not entertained with just leading you in.
Exactly.
You're hooked.
Exactly.
And then they'll cut you off.
Once you catch on to what he's about, then he gets pissed off, okay?
Oh, exactly.
And he's going to try to make more
You're not playing with
problems
anymore.
for you. And if he sees you getting closer to God, that really irritates him. It's like, okay, I've got to find another direction to go.
Exactly. So true.
Yeah.
And, if you look at, what exactly the diabolic is, the chaos, the divide thing, Steve's got a really important point here that I think, needs to be explored. He asked everybody here tonight, and thank you all for joining us, because we all love you so much, and we love having fun with you every Thursday. Did anybody have a positive, what they would call a positive experience? And if you can think back, well, geez, can't the devil create a positive experience? Even though his end game is definitely your destruction. Like Deb said, she found out the weight of her son, the time. I mean, that's kind of a positive experience, wouldn't you think?
you're right, Sarah. I found out the time.
Yep.
The weight, the how long he was, and this and that. And you know what? In the end, the devil took my son.
Yeah, honey. I'm so sorry. May God hold him and keep him until you see him again.
And that's a book in itself, Deb. And people think this Crossroads story, the blues player.
Exactly, and it's a Crossroads story because my son had on his Facebook page before he died, he had the Crossroads on his page.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So the answer to Steve's question is yes. The Ouija board, many people can say yes, they've had a quote unquote positive experience. The problem is that just like the devil can present himself as an angel of light, the spirits of the board can pretend to be your best friends and give you what appears to be very good information. Yeah. Because that's the way that, just like any good drug pusher, lets you believe that the wonderful little high you got is not a big deal and you can stop anytime you want, just like a Ouija board. So pick it up, no problem. You can put it down.
Yeah, some of the silliness and
so horrific.
And going into the next one is that people look at guidelines, and they say this about astral projection too. Astral projection can be an enlightening experience if it's done properly. They say that about witchcraft too. There was this, supposed, madam, because they call themselves madam, and they call themselves sister this or sister that. No, it's not sister. They call you lady, like they're pretending to be Renaissance witches. You ever know Gerald Gardner is the one who created Wicca, and that was only, in the 1940s? Is it fair? I think it was something
later
like that.
Than that.
It's like sometime in around the Fox sisters' time, I wouldn't doubt. But they do these things like, if it's done properly, it can be an enlightening experience. They say the same thing about the Ouija boards. Like, for one person says, if you must use a Ouija board, and this is by someone who used to call himself a demonologist, supposed to be a Christian, that stop using it if the spirit can't spell, because it's a demon, because demons can't spell. And then someone who calls himself a bishop copied that and plagiarized it into his book and didn't realize he got it from a site of a guy who's not even, what you would call your qualified demonologist, who doesn't even know anything to be anything yet less than a novice. That's just foolish to believe that demons can't spell. So back then, Lorraine was pretty sharp in the mental, and she wasn't all popular because The Conjuring wasn't out. I can just call her up and say, hey, what do you think of this, Lorraine? You're not going to believe what I just saw. And I told her that what they said, and she said, I said, what do you think of that? And she said, well, let me put it to you this way, demons have the wisdom of the ages. They've been around since before man. It's like, but those were words of wisdom.
And remember when I told you that Lorraine hollered at me? And she said, don't ever do that. And I said, why? Because I was having a lot of astral projection. I would go to sleep, and I would leave my body, and I would see myself sleeping, and I would leave. And every time I left, I told her I would go over I was at a church. I would fly over, and I was at a church, and it looked like a Gothic area. It looked like England. And I kept leaving my body, and I kept going over that way. And lo and behold, my son, the one that died, he would always fly to England all the time. Always.
Did you ever see anything that looked like it?
He had an urge for England.
I don't want to kindle some sort of unhealthy interest, obviously, but now the internet's out there. You can see pictures of just about everything. I'm surprised you haven't found it by now. It's just not
we got onto internet, but I did have a problem with astral projection because I constantly left my body, and that's when she hollered at me. She goes, honey, you can't do that. Stop doing that. No. And I said, I can't help it. I'm sleeping, and I just leave. And then I could see my body laying there next to my husband.
Yeah, you didn't never practice it either. That's what people should know.
No, never.
Of course, it's going to be a curious phenomenon because you're not even sure you're awake at that point. Sort of speaking, your spirit's awake like vivid, or what do you call that, lucid?
Yeah,
that's a strange thing. That is another show topic, and that's for sure.
Definitely.
We're okay because we're going 5 minutes over, and so we don't, as long as we started on time.
Okay, well, you know what?
Just 5 minutes over. So we got, what, 10 minutes? That's it. 9 minutes?
I'm playing peekaboo. I know what you're doing.
Oh, she's doing a peekaboo through the...
I'm trying not to laugh, you know. It just, I can't. Last week I was playing with my Star Wars saber and lighting it up. I can't play with my Star Wars saber. So I'm sitting here, you know, I'm trying to get people to give us likes, you know, so they'll stay. So I'm like I'm blowing bubbles like an idiot. And Dawn and Cecilia.
I saw the show 2 weeks ago when we did it, and when Ken made a blooper, I was hysterical. We cut it all out.
I know. Why did he cut it out? The bigger head?
Which one did I cut out?
No, I love that. I love it when I laugh.
Yeah.
I love to make people laugh, and I love to hear you guys laugh.
I cut it out of the full archive, or did I just give an extra?
Thank you, Doris. Hi, Valerie. I see
remember
you guys
doing
out
that.
there.
I ever do a blooper, Ken, I want you to leave it in because I want to be able to laugh at it.
Oh, Farah. No, I didn't take Farah's thing out. You watching?
No, it was hers. You took her laugh out.
With me.
Oh, so you want to laugh at your laugh?
Yeah, it was
that sounds like a personal
because,
problem.
you know when you laugh at something?
Yeah, so it was so funny you took it out.
Everybody calms down and they're all on the same page, then somebody else breaks out laughing again.
Oh, yeah, I don't edit that stuff out. I don't got time for that stuff. But you might have been listening to not the full show version.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. You sounded like Elmer Fudd, and I loved it.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd. Yeah, like I said, I get Elmer Fudd and Bill Clinton imitations mixed up. You know, like Hillary.
Oh,
crazy
my
rabbit.
Yeah, you are a crazy rabbit.
Yeah. There's something we could bring up too right now, and this is pretty disturbing because it's right here, and it's in the list too. Novelty Ouija boards. First off is the Ouija Board Happy Meal. Have you heard about this?
Ouija Board Happy Meal?
Oh, yeah, it came out.
What you said?
It was like about 5 years ago. The problem is it's not real.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody made it up. They took a Happy Meal sticker, and then they probably CGI'd it. I can do this, and I can probably do this in Photoshop. Just skew the images and shape it into this, you know, and put a planchette. It's not that hard for graphic artists.
But I didn't get one, especially with the planchette. Can you imagine how much that would be worth on eBay right now?
Oh, no, it was fake. The whole thing was fabricated.
So they just put them on the side of a fake box?
You can tell because it's Ouija board all the way around. They would have had McDonald's logos and stuff on the side, but they didn't.
Likes their logos.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to know how McDonald's markets stuff, and they would have had a Ouija board crossword puzzle on the side. You know, they're always trying to make the game just, and it's not.
That's why you're so sharp. We need you, Ken.
Yeah.
You're that computer geek we need.
Exactly.
Total geekamundo.
Thank you, I think. And guess what? Did you guys know, Farah, did you know there was a Stranger Things themed Ouija board?
Oh, my gosh.
You remember that? We like that series, kind of like Goonies, go crazy with the X-Files kind of thing.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know, there's the two main characters, the sheriff and Winona Ryder, the mother of the...
That's so stupid.
I know. And just because there was some sort of weird, you know, kind of interdimensional phenomenon going on, like Poltergeist was when she got snatched in the TV universe, you know. So, mystifying oracle. Boy, talking about that. And then, so you figured they're kind of gearing towards kids.
Well, and, you know, and people, oh my gosh.
Oh, go ahead, Farah.
I just wanted to put in here, folks, the reason that we're showing you and we're telling you about this stuff, so you can be aware when you go to people's parties, when you go to their houses, if you've got children, if you've got teens, if you've got college students, they're like, wow, did you ever hear about the game Stranger Things where you get to talk to ghosts and you're like, hello, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. No, stop that. And you can stop it in its tracks because it's pretty important that, you know, we listen to people around us because you just don't want to give this stuff agency. Just like a musician hires an agent, an author hires an agent. Mm. You give something agency when you invite people into your home that play with this stuff. People, be careful. Be careful.
And they repackage it.
You don't want to give it recognition.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and don't be attracted just because they change the color of it. And look at this one. This is the Supernatural Boys, from that show that's been on forever now. And did you notice on the bottom left there's a upside down pentagram, except it doesn't have a circle around it?
Yeah.
Your kids are still young enough, but I don't think your kids would actually mess around with that stuff. I really don't.
They're teenagers since you last visited.
Yeah, that's...
You need to come back.
Well, if they hang out with the wrong person, all you got to do is show up
That's
for a
true.
slumber party or a Boy Scout meeting, because they can fit those into... they'll probably have a rollout one now, that you roll up in a tube.
Yeah.
Take your planchette out. Don't trust it. Anywhere your kids go.
You just showed us Stranger Things Ouija board, and Valerie's worried about her CCD high school kids watching Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Stranger Things did not have a Ouija board.
It was more like X-Files.
And Stranger Things was like an X-Files type, interesting. You had a little city, and then you had like this big government plant, and Stranger Things was the interaction between like the sci-fi events that were caused by the government plant. So, no, it's all right for
MK
CCD
Ultra
high
and all that
schoolers.
stuff. Yeah,
They're not delving into any occult or playing with any oracles or something. So they're good, Valerie.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It
I
was
had
a
to
little
address that right away. Especially when
yeah.
you're in charge of young minds, you really want to be careful with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like me, on the other hand, I don't watch those kind of things. I only watch like DIY or cooking shows in the news, so I couldn't help anyone.
But it's like it's like Steve Foster says, and when you have good shows, you got bad shows. Stranger Things was kind of like the good wins. It kind of it left you a little satisfied that the good can win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We didn't do a review of that. Oh yeah, did we?
No, I don't think we did Stranger Things.
Yeah, especially on the TV ones. I remember that because the images would have been up, and I didn't collect any.
No.
Well, here's
yet.
our favorite friend called.
The picture you got up looks like Slender Man.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
pretty gross.
That's Slender Man. He's got looks like 6 fingers or something, or I don't know. He doesn't. It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But no, I think this is a custom board made by some person selling it online, because it's not done very well. I could have done it better than that, but so could Farah. So could my kid.
But for those who don't know, last week the 2 girls that were locked up for the Slender Man incident, one of the girls got 45 years, and the other girl got 40 years, excuse me, in insane asylum, and the other girl got 5.
No, how many years did the second one get?
25.
Okay, 25.
So, and this was a Slender Man incident where these girls
And
took that one girl out there and they killed her.
Yeah, like an offering to Slender Man.
No, they didn't kill her. She survived because of a jogger was jogging by, and this girl crawled, and she had like 19 stab wounds in her, and she didn't die.
Oh my!
Wow, godsend! Wow, that angel kept her
The
alive.
angel was watching out.
She should have at least bled to
gone by
death.
and seen and called for medics, and she survived her stab wounds. And these were her friends, supposedly.
Yeah,
but
supposedly her
according
friends.
to the game, they wanted to please Slender Man.
Yeah, that's something.
That's
yeah,
demonic.
demons take opportunity in everything.
That is seriously, that's demonic. Ugh.
Like I said, if you start a cult worshiping the head of lettuce, a demon will step in and start, providing, false miracles or whatever it takes to get followers and get you hooked in as a leader.
And Jennifer said that was in Wisconsin.
That was Wisconsin, yeah. And
our favorite cheeseheads out there.
They really didn't tell anybody. I don't know how you found that. And here's my. I hate to say the word favorite, but I mean, this one is just the first time I heard about this. This has been out a while.
Ew.
First time I thought, is that a Barbie Ouija board? So it's geared towards girls. It's got the colors of pinkish and purples, and it looks in the ad, which I don't have. It has the girl, and she just looks like one of those people one of those kids who are not even old enough to wear makeup yet, playing with the board. So, and you notice on the bottom of all the boards, it says ages 8+. So right at the age of reason. How convenient. Why can't you use it when you're 4 years old?
The age when you are encouraged in America to summon a demon, 8 years old.
Like, what a strange little thing there. It's like, that's the age. You know, it's like I tell people, if your kid is having these experiences before the age of reason and you let this go and you don't get them baptized and everything, you know, like the invisible friend, and eventually a invisible friend tells you to do mean stuff and evil stuff. Oh, no, my friend Ron said to do that. And then it turns out that there is something going on, you know, like supposedly Jody the pig or whatever, or Jody the angel. And
well, like Jennifer was saying, they also have the military camo version. They have the kind for boys, too, that are cool.
Oh, yeah, with a camo over? Oh, I didn't even go that far. See how I found just on one quick search because
my images didn't load up that I sent you.
Yeah, you had more Ouija board images, and they were in that that little flip book montage, and so we got to find some larger images.
You big images.
Yeah, but you know, it's just one of those things. I think that we'll continue this next week. We only went through half of them. Farah has the history.
We have so much more to cover on the Ouija board for you folks, because we did some pretty amazing and insightful and just mind-blowing research on something that most of you don't even know is way over 100 years old.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue our Ouija Part 2 and add some other titillating little tidbits of the unusually strange times we live in, folks. Never forget, please, that the battle's already been won, and we're all here to help you fight it and win it right, especially our Deb girl. And we all love you. We care for you. If you ever need prayer or anything, contact us, because we've always got a minute to help you. We don't care what. And thank you all, Dawn, Steve, Patricia, Doris, Athena, Jennifer, Barry, Michael, Valerie, and everybody that came out tonight, Zulma. You guys make it worthwhile just hanging out and talking with us and sending us your stuff. And hi, Kevin, from your chair. I hope you're enjoying it. And Father Bob, yes.
He's on the East Coast. He's probably
he's probably tired by now. And thank you all for putting up for us. You know, just balancing out and trying to get our little subjects in line. And we hope you have a really wonderful week. And we've got giveaways. Next week is going to be Valentine's Day. So we're going to have some giveaways. We're going to post them on Monday. And, of course, if you share the post and like our page, guess what? You're in like Flynn. And we will have something special for Valentine's, all right, that, of course, you're going to get after Valentine's Day, but it'll be your little special goodie. So pay attention and keep those hearts coming, because we love them. Like our page, subscribe, and don't go nowhere. Be good. Say your prayers.
Your prayers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Deb. Good night, Deb.
Thanks, Deb. You made it.
Good night, and God bless.
Good night, Barry, Jennifer, Valerie, Sonia, Jennifer, Rose, and everybody else. Steve, Zoma.
And every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
And Matthew.
And everybody and their brother.
Exactly. Oh, look at all the hearts. I've got hearts. They're coming hearts. Oh, my gosh. I got to give them some blowing bubbles. Lawrence Welk Hour. Look at the hearts. I love it.